Look around you. Every bill, every bank number, every transaction carries more than meets the eye. Disguised as paper or digital digits, money holds a presence, an invisible force that many feel but few comprehend. For centuries, we've been taught to see money as external, material, neutral. What if all of that was merely illusion? What you're about to hear may challenge everything you've been told about wealth. Money is spirit, a living intelligence that responds to your consciousness, your vibration, your internal state. This isn't about earning more. This is about understanding what money actually is and who truly commands this invisible flow. The most surprising part involves someone you wouldn't expect. He walked among fishermen and healers, preached humility, spoke in parables. How could a Galilean carpenter teach something so profound about money? Perhaps because he never saw money as an enemy. He saw it as a mirror, a reflection of your deepest beliefs about value, worthiness, and provision. Here's the unsettling truth. You'll never attract what you fundamentally believe is wrong. While you view money as dirty, materialistic, or contrary to spirituality, it will continue escaping through the cracks of your mind. Your mantras don't matter. Your visualizations don't matter. If your heart associates money with fear, scarcity, or selfishness, you remain at war with abundance. Think about how many times you've asked for more, prayed for financial relief while feeling guilty for wanting to prosper. This isn't coincidence. This is energetic conflict. Like trying to tune a radio station using the wrong channel. Nothing arrives. Nothing flows. What if you could change this today? What if a hidden code exists in his words, a secret language showing how to transform money into servant rather than master? Notice how some people attract money naturally while others struggle their entire lives for every penny. This isn't about effort or luck. The answer exists at a subtler level, almost invisible. Money, contrary to what we've been told, isn't a thing. It's a spirit, a vibrational field responding directly to the frequency you emit. Ancient civilizations recognized money as more than simple exchange medium. Egyptians believed prosperity manifested divine favor. Hindus invoked Lakshmi, goddess of abundance, to attract wealth. In both cases, money was treated as living energy, not dead object. Modern thinking reduced it to paper, digits, accumulation. We lost the sacredness of abundance. This loss created a void, an imbalance causing many to live in cycles of emotional and financial scarcity without understanding why. Money is spirit because it's movement, it's flow. The word currency itself means current, movement. When you try controlling it with fear, it escapes. When you try grasping it with desperation, it flees. But when you honor it as spiritual force, as extension of your own consciousness, it flows, it responds, it serves. Like a dance between you and the universe. Money doesn't respond to scattered words or superficial desires. It responds to internal coherence, the harmony between what you think, feel, and believe possible. This is why you can repeat, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times, but if deep down you believe you'll never be, nothing happens. Money senses, it perceives, it vibrates. Imagine money as a river. It doesn't originate from your hands. It passes through you. But if within you exists fear, guilt, scarcity, that river finds blockages. Like any river, it seeks the path of least resistance. True prosperity begins with internal cleansing, spiritual repositioning. This perspective isn't new. In the Gospels, he never spoke of money as evil. He spoke of human relationship with it. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Money isn't the problem. What you do with it, how much you cling, how much you idolize or fear, that determines whether it becomes blessing or prison. Everything changes when you understand that money doesn't come from outside. It manifests from within. It's the materialization of your dominant vibration. It reaches you when your consciousness aligns with life's flow. Do you truly believe you deserve to live in abundance? Are you ready to abandon old beliefs associating money with guilt, sin, or arrogance? Can you imagine money as a sacred ally, a reflection of your internal harmony? Because that's exactly what it is. It mirrors what you believe yourself to be. It bows before those with spiritual clarity and flees from those still divided between desire to have and fear of not deserving. Imagine how your life would change if you started treating money as a friendly spirit, not as a tyrant or unattainable prize. How would your routine transform if you vibrated abundance with the same naturalness you breathe? What would change in you if you stopped chasing and started commanding? A certain carpenter from Galilee revealed over 2,000 years ago how this spirit can be commanded. Almost nobody noticed. He never spoke directly about investments, never taught earning money the way the world teaches. But in his words and actions, he revealed a silent code, a spiritual map teaching how to command money's energy without ever submitting to it. Everything begins with a seemingly simple scene recorded in Matthew's Gospel. The Pharisees, trying to pit him against the Roman Empire, ask whether they should pay taxes to Caesar. Was a trap. If he said yes, he'd be aligning with the oppressor. If he said no, he'd be accused of rebellion. But his response didn't just disarm the trap. It revealed one of the greatest spiritual secrets ever spoken about money. He says, "Show me the coin." They hand it over. "Whose image and inscription is on it?" he asks. "Caesar's," they respond. Then he declares, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's." At first glance, this seems merely an elegant political answer. Look deeper. He wasn't just talking about coins. He was talking about identity, origin, spiritual authority. The coin carries Caesar's image. The body carries God's image. What belongs to matter, coin, tax, system, can be returned to matter. But what is divine, consciousness, spirit, purpose, that belongs to the Creator and cannot be bought or sold? He taught us subtly that money belongs to the world of form, the world of manifestation. It exists below spirit. It's a consequence, not a cause. The spirit made in God's image commands this form, not the reverse. This is more than philosophy. This is energetic code. He demonstrated this repeatedly. When thousands were hungry, he didn't panic. He gave thanks and bread multiplied. When Peter worried about temple tax, he didn't search for coins among the disciples. He said, "Go to the sea, cast your hook, the first fish will bring a coin in its mouth." This isn't magic. This is spiritual mastery. This is demonstration that nature, matter, circumstances, all obey aligned consciousness. Money appears where faith, gratitude, and certainty exist. It manifests where the mind is already convinced of provision. He never made abundance the center of his message because money isn't the end. It's the reflection. Like a tree's shadow. If you chase the shadow, it moves away. But if you remain firm beside the tree, your divine essence, the shadow comes naturally. What does this tell us today? While you try controlling money through fear's rules, through effort, through comparison, it will continue escaping. But if you align your consciousness with spirit, with gratitude, clarity, and confidence, it becomes servant, tool, reflection of your internal state. Are you ready to stop serving money and start commanding it with your consciousness? The question that remains is whether you have courage to abandon the old race for survival and enter the frequency where money begins seeking you. Notice how chasing money creates an infinite cycle of exhaustion, frustration, and scarcity. Like trying to hold sand with wet hands. The more force you apply, the more escapes between your fingers. This happens because you weren't born to chase abundance. You were born to attract it, to command it. This is the difference between those living in lack consciousness and those living in source consciousness. While most spend life saying "I need more money," masters say "I am the expression of abundance." One repeats desire, the other embodies state. One vibrates deficiency, the other vibrates completeness. The universe, like a quantum mirror, returns exactly what you vibrate, not what you say you want. Stop for a moment and breathe deeply. Ask yourself how many times you've tried forcing abundance by seeking more, doing more, accelerating more, only to feel nothing truly changed inside. This isn't failure. This is a signal. A call to stop running and start aligning. Money doesn't respond to anxiety. It responds to authority. But spiritual authority doesn't shout. It whispers with conviction. He never begged, never repeated affirmations in desperation. He said it is done. And rested. This is the true Creator's posture. Declare with faith and rest with confidence. Imagine you're like a radio. If tuned to scarcity frequency, fear, doubt, hurry, you only receive noise. But changing internal frequency to gratitude, peace, and certainty, everything begins clarifying. Ideas arise. Opportunities appear. Doors open. Not because you ran more, but because you became magnetic. You're not a hunter. You're a magnet. The hunter depends on effort. The magnet depends on vibration. Money, this sensitive and attentive spirit, senses exactly where you emanate from. You want it to stop fleeing? Then stop pursuing it. The secret lies in stopping thinking like someone who wants to conquer and starting living like someone who already possesses. This isn't arrogance. This is alignment. This is recognition that everything necessary already exists in potential, waiting only for your vibrational permission to manifest. Imagine how your day would be if you lived as if provision was already guaranteed. How would your speech, your gaze, your breathing be? This internal shift is the portal. The challenge is whether you can rest even when you don't yet see results. Do you have sufficient faith to stop checking your bank account and start monitoring your internal energy? Because only when you abandon hurry does the miracle approach in peace. Have you ever planted a seed and dug up the earth every day to see if it was growing? Of course not, because you intuitively understand there's an invisible time between planting and flowering. With money, with any spiritual manifestation, it's exactly like this. After aligning your consciousness and declaring your truth comes the part many ignore. Rest. Rest isn't passivity. It's faith in action. It's the final signal that you trust what was sent to the universe is being delivered, without doubt, without anxiety, without hurry. He taught this principle clearly. He didn't multiply bread and fish by asking, imploring, waiting. He simply gave thanks and acted as if it were already done. After that, he rested in his state of certainty. When he said, "Lazarus, come forth," he didn't cross his fingers to see if it would work. He knew. He had commanded with aligned consciousness, and that was enough. This is the highest level of spiritual creation. The silent command is when you tell the universe it is done, and your heart believes. It's when you vibrate such peace that no internal space remains for doubts. This peace is the greatest testimony of faith that exists, because what believes rests. Most people emit a request but remain trapped in fear. They say, "I want to prosper," but continue doubting tomorrow. This contradiction nullifies the flow. Like wanting to advance with the parking brake pulled. Nothing moves forward because energy doesn't understand words. It understands vibrational state. You want to manifest abundance? Declare, then release. This may be the hardest part. Releasing. Because we've been taught to control, to verify, to repeat, to guarantee everything is happening. But in spiritual language, this excess vigilance is actually a sign of insecurity. Where insecurity exists, flow interrupts. Releasing is trusting divine force so completely you no longer need to see to believe. You feel, you rest. In that rest, things begin moving. Opportunities you never imagined. Encounters that seem like coincidence. Ideas that surge like lightning bolts of inspiration. As if the entire universe conspired in your favor. That's exactly what happens because you exited control frequency and entered creation frequency. Are you ready for this level of surrender? Can you allow the universe to surprise you without interfering midway? Are you prepared to become the type of person who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't despair, but commands and then rests with a smile? Because in that tranquil smile, in that secure silence, money begins truly flowing. When you see the first sign, an unexpected payment, an improbable opportunity, a generous favor, remember it isn't luck. It's alignment. It's command. It's the manifestation of who you always were. You're not abundance's servant. You are abundance itself in human form. Maybe now you can see more clearly what was always before you, but that the world's noise prevented you from perceiving. Money was never the villain of the story. It's merely a mirror, a messenger, an energetic extension of your relationship with yourself, with the divine, with life's flow. How you think about it, feel about it, speak about it, all of this sends silent commands to the universe. The universe, with surgical precision, responds not to your desire but to your vibration. This is why so many people struggle so hard and don't leave the starting point. Not because they don't deserve, but because they're trying to conquer something they fundamentally still believe they're not worthy of receiving. They're trapped in internal war between desire to prosper and fear of appearing selfish, between will to grow and inherited guilt that growing is wrong. But now you know, this war isn't necessary. It's learned. Everything learned can be unlearned. You no longer need to divide yourself. You no longer need to run. You can return to center. You can remember that everything true already exists within you, including abundance. Money doesn't come to fill a void. It comes to amplify what you already are. If you're in peace, it amplifies peace. If you're in gratitude, it multiplies blessings. But if you're in fear, it reinforces the cycle. The choice ultimately is yours. You can continue trying to control the external, or you can assume the internal throne of someone who remembers who they are. Because money, strange as it may seem to say this, has always been waiting for this. For someone who stops serving it and starts conducting it with purpose, consciousness, and spirit. When this happens, when you align, give thanks, and release, the invisible begins working in your favor. The unexpected surprises you. The improbable manifests. You realize you were never alone. You were always part of the flow. You are the flow.